Hello, what's up, my friends? My name is Josh. I'm your push coach. Excited to hang with you this week for a few minutes. Couple updates to give you. We're just coming off of our life coach launch for round 9 of our life and performance coach certification. I'm so excited to kick this round off. This Saturday, we go into what we call our breakdown weekend. So there's a lot of programs, a lot of certifications out there where as long as you write them a check, they're going to give you access to 50,000 courses and give you a nice piece of paper at the end that says you're certified. And we do things totally different. What we do, we take the first weekend to teach what I would consider like the book smarts or the intellectual knowledge that you need to have, okay? After that, we go into weekly practice calls, meaning we take the elements of life coaching and we break them down into small little steps. Every single week, we teach a step and then we go into breakout rooms and we practice those steps. So many people out there are becoming certified coaches, but not actual skilled coaches. And the way I like to say it is this, like, all of us have a manual to our vehicle, like every single one of us. It comes in the glove box. If you bought your car used and they didn't pass along the manual, you can Google it, download a PDF. We all have a manual, right? And most of us have tools in our garage. So why in the world are we not working on our own vehicles? Why aren't we all fixing our own cars? Well, because the engine is a little bit more complicated than just knowing in theory what to do and which tools to use. Because some people who actually do it on a regular basis start to actually develop the skills of knowing how to take things apart, how to put things back together, right? And I would argue that there are a lot of people who have never fully memorized the manual that have worked on enough vehicles at this point. For the most part, they know how to work on cars. Now, obviously, there's some exceptions with modern computers and stuff like that in our cars. But let's go back to 30 years ago before there were computers in our cars. If you were a mechanic, you could fix any car. You could work on anything because you had just done it so many times, right? And this is what I see with not even just certifications, but just trainings in general is like, here's a manual, here's the tools, now go do it. And this, my friends, is we can't operate like this anymore. At some point, we have to actually get the tools in people's hands and get them actually working on cars, taking things apart, putting them back together. At some point, all of the leaders have got to stop with this just go do it, just go figure it out mentality. Is there a little truth to that? Sure. But just thinking that everyone should be able to grab a manual, grab a screwdriver, and fix a car, that's insanity. That is absolutely insanity. And I'm just so sick of seeing so much of this in the internet and in our industry, which is like, if you have the manual, you have the tool, you should be able to do it. So what we do in our certifications, we walk people through step by step, one skill at a time, until at the end of 3 months, you are not just someone with a piece of paper that says you can coach people in theory. You are someone who has actually spent time coaching people, and now you're ready to actually do it. Does that make sense? And so I'm really excited for this round. I cannot wait to dive in. I think we have our second biggest group that we've ever had. Can't remember the exact number. I think we've got 37-ish people in this round. It's going to be so freaking amazing. I'm so pumped for this. And that's so here's kind of what I want to talk about in today's episode is just leaders coming up to a higher standard. And I've already kind of had a little bit of a call out, but here's what I'm hearing from so many leaders. That leaders are frustrated that more people aren't showing up and more people aren't taking action. I'm hearing this from leader after leader after leader. Listen, I've given everyone everything to do and they're still not showing up. And I'm constantly challenging leaders in my groups as well as one-on-one calls to be like, is having 37 different ways to post everything they actually need to succeed? Or is it possible that maybe they're struggling with some beliefs? Is it possible that maybe they're struggling with actually personalizing some of the copy paste things that you're giving them? Is it possible that we as leaders need to be a little bit better about actually breaking things down as far as the strategy goes. But then in addition to that, friends, if you've given people 35 ways to do things and they're still not doing it, I have a little bit of a feeling that it is not a strategy problem at all. It's a belief problem. And when leaders don't know how to help people with their beliefs, leaders will fail over and over and over to get people to show up consistently. And that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about teaching this life coaching stuff. We also, we don't certify people in our membership, but in our membership, we also teach on these principles and teach on these elements and how they apply to our sales and marketing and how they apply to our personal mindset, but also leadership. Friends, if we can't help people solve belief problems, good luck fixing action problems. One of the things that I taught in our life coach launch workshop last week is that beliefs drive behavior. At the end of the day, one of my favorite quotes, and forgive me because I can't remember who it is that said this, but they said that we can never outperform our own self-worth. In other words, whatever your self-worth is, internally, we have some dollar signs on what we believe we are worth. And if we believe we are only worth a certain amount of success, and for a lot of people, that's a really, really low level of success they believe in, we'll never perform over and above that. So we will always run into this lid, which is our own beliefs about our own potential, about the opportunities in front of us. So when someone says, this is so important, when someone says, I'm just overwhelmed, I'm too busy. Okay, that's not an actual I'm overwhelmed, I'm busy problem. This is a self-worth problem. In other words, I don't believe I'm worthy. I don't believe my future and my success are worthy of the time it's going to take for me to figure this out and put in the action. It all comes back to beliefs, my friends. And when you know how to use true coaching, we can ask questions to dive a few layers deeper to find out what the real problem is instead of what the excuse is. I want you to write this down if you're not driving right now. I talked about this in both of my books. And just a reminder, I give those away for free on my website if you just pay for shipping. But I want you to write this down. Our limiting beliefs are constantly looking for a story to justify our fears and excuses. I'll say it one more time. Sorry if you are playing this on 1.5. Our limiting beliefs, constantly looking for a story to justify our fears and excuses. So we come up with kind of we originally have an excuse is where it starts off as. And the excuse or the limiting belief might be, I'm not good enough because I'm not outgoing. I could never create success because I'm not a good leader. Whatever this story is, we then go looking for all of the evidence and all of the reasons to prove that true. So if you think you're not outgoing enough to be successful, you'll go follow all the most outgoing people in the world. You'll follow girls who are like TikTok dancing all over their page, who are going absolutely crazy. And you'll be like, see, I knew it. I couldn't be successful. And you'll totally miss out on the fact that there are a million other introverted people creating success all around you, because that's not the evidence you were looking for. And what we seek is what we find. Okay. Grab that again. What we seek is what we find. If you're looking for only extroverted people to have success, that's what you're going to find. If you're looking for only people who look a certain way to have success, that's what you'll find. And that's the same thing I did in my first year, friends. I thought everyone on the John Maxwell team was like a 65-year-old dude with like 40 years of business experience who had a bunch of rich friends and was like, well, I ran 5 different successful businesses and then I got certified and I called up all my friends and said, hey, I'm now certified. Could I come speak? Could I come teach? Could I come coach? And one rich friend said to the other, sure. Come on over and let's just all be rich together. And that's how I really thought it was happening. And I'm sure there was some of that happening. But you know what happened when I showed up for graduation? When I showed up for graduation, I was one of the few, very, very few people in the room that were actually having success. what was happening was I had this idea based on my mentor, this one single person, and then 2 or 3 other people in the program. And this idea that everyone was these older people with tons of business experience. And the reality is I got there, 95% of the room was young. And even the people who had business experience weren't figuring out, like it wasn't clicking for them. And what happened to me is I had that excuse and looked for that story for the first 6 months. And finally, I used all of the coaching tools I was being taught on myself, started doing some self coaching and some self evaluating, and found it in myself to just say, maybe as of right now, everyone that's having success in this program is a 70-year-old white dude with 40 years of business experience and 100 business friends. But I'm not that, and I'm not going to be that. So I've got to find my own way. And I set out, my friends, to define success for myself instead of using other people's vision or version of success as an excuse. And I just had to go pave my own path. And by the time I created my own version of success, I had to actually stop going to the John Maxwell trainings because I couldn't go pee without having 5 people surrounding me wanting to ask me how I created success via social media using Zoom. I mean, this was 2015. So, guys, not a lot of people were using Zoom for life coaching. Not a lot of people were using social media for life coaching. I mean, like, I was literally one of the first people to do it. Okay. And before you go off on your own, well, you were the first to do it, that's why it worked for you. No, it worked for me because I was committed to finding the way it would work for me. Instead of using the ways it had worked for others as an excuse, I just said, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I want, and it's on me to figure it out. Now, I just want to be very clear, that took some big time coaching. That took some big time evaluating. That wasn't something that happened overnight. That was an ongoing daily process. And that's why true coaching becomes so important, my friends. It's not a one-time happening, okay? It's an every single day processing through some of this bullshit and finding what we call your heart voice, finding your true power, finding your true alignment, and then natural actions start to happen as you find your internal purpose, passion, power, and alignment. And when that happens, you become unstoppable, my friend. So I became unstoppable. And I was unstoppable before I was ever being paid to be unstoppable. I just got to a point, something we call in our certification, we call it self-confidence, which means you get to a point where you believe in yourself so freaking much that nothing can get in your way, nothing can stop you. And I'm not talking about forcing it. I'm not talking about faking it until you make it. I'm not talking about showing up scared. I'm talking about coaching yourself through it to where you find your own internal confidence and belief in self. And that is a beautiful and powerful thing. So please do me a favor. If you're a leader, learn some new skills that are going to help people on a deeper level so that you can help them to show up instead of continuing to hit them over the head with new systems and new strategies that people still can't handle. If you are the person struggling to show up for yourself, please lean in. Learn some of these skills to help yourself. Okay. Our round of certification has already, is basically in motion. If it's a last minute thing and you're willing to do a little bit of makeup work, shoot me a email, info@joshcoates.com, and we can chat about getting you in. But if that's not the right time for you, not the right season for you, I want to invite you to check out our membership called Legacy Leadership University. We'll be doing another big launch for that at the beginning of March, and the prices will be going up. So if you're interested in getting to that, currently you can jump in at $45 a month. Okay. We have weekly training calls. We do a bingo card challenge, which is just a fun way of doing a daily tracker. You go to my website, open up your digital bingo card, and you basically mark off all the activities on the bingo card that you did for the day. And at the end of the week, we give cash prizes to first place, second place, and third place. And then we also give away cash prizes to 3 people at random. So we are rewarding the top performers as well as rewarding everybody for participating. We have one girl, Charlene, who in January, I think made like $150, even though she paid less than 50. She profited off of our program. So this is one of my favorite things to do, is give that extra accountability that gets you to show up. I also record little mini motivational videos for them throughout the week to keep them connected to my energy. So if you're interested in that, you want to check that out, you can go check it on the website. Actually, we'll drop a link here for you. I'll make sure my producer puts a link right here that goes directly to that. It's $45 a month, which is a killer deal. And we give you like $2,000 of bonus courses as just my gift to you for investing in yourself and making the decision to learn some new skills. We focus in there on beliefs through the subconscious mind, sales psychology, and leadership. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure and go grab that. We'll put the link right here in the comments. I love you so much. I believe in you so much. Please remember that everything you need is living on the inside. All the resources you'll ever need are right under your nose. I love you so much. Have a good one, and we'll see you soon.